Thanks for tuning into the Carry Hunter podcast. Here's your host, Bryce and Kevin.
Welcome back to the Carry Handle Podcast. My name is Bryce. With me, as always, is Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
I'm well, Bryce. Thanks for asking.
Good. What are we talking about today?
The wonderful world of 2011s and how they relate to you.
World of 2011s. I think that is a lie in and of itself. I don't think there is a wonderful world of 2011s. I think it's like owning a boat.
How so?
I think your happiest day of owning a 2011 is the day you buy it and the day you sell it.
Ooh, ouch.
So maybe I'm giving away a bit of the story here, but
that's a little foreshadowing, if you will.
So I have been interested in 2011s and 1911s for a while, so I figured Kevin and I could go through and kind of
talk about
it and see what we got. So, how are we starting this out? What are we leading with?
Maybe just simple. What is a 2011 compared to a 1911? Just a
broad strokes. 2011s are just double stack 1911s that typically shoot 9mm. It's a lot less common nowadays for them to shoot 45. There was a few that did, but more by and large, they're 9mm. We can talk about the history in greater detail another time, but broad strokes, double stack 1911, typically in 9mm.
Okay, yeah, sounds pretty cool, and they're pretty cost effective, right? I mean, not too hard to get into on a budget.
So when we talk about budget guns a lot of the time on this show, I feel like we talk about like Taurus or we talk about PSA or we talk about Glock, where we're like,
Glocks.
we use Glock as a baseline. It should be at least as good as a Glock. If it's better, that's awesome. It really shouldn't be worse. And that's to say that they're basically the baseline.
Yeah, the price of the Glocks don't really change too much. I mean, we could use Glock math ideally to kind of go over the budget for these.
I think for my sanity, I think we need to use Glock math here on out.
All right. I mean, we can. And, if anyone wants to figure out the real price.
Okay. So
just look up Glocks.
All right. So when we're talking about 2011s and we talk about an entry level into 2011s, a lot of people think the first thing they jump to is like the Prodigies, because those get a lot of screen time, and those are great in terms of the price point and what they offer. People like the recoil characteristics. They like that they don't. I mean, they're American made, and however you feel about Springfield, one way or the other, it's an option. It's an American made option for a 2011, and that's to say there are other budget options that aren't, which is where you get a lot of your Turkish guns or your Rocket Island armories, where they have more of a different pattern of double stack 1911, but it's a very similar concept. And so that's where a lot of the imports come in, is going to be under that $1,300 price point where you find those Prodigies. And obviously you can find them for sale, but typically you're paying a little bit more for the Springfield frame and slide, because a lot of the people that are buying those, you're effectively buying a frame, slide, and barrel, because a lot of people are gutting them. They're putting new triggers and all kinds of stuff in, which is what I decided to do with my 2011 clone.
What did you? Oh, you got a clone.
I did, because I was thinking, I don't want to buy a Prodigy,
right?
But there's not a leather.
Yeah.
Well,
don't want it.
Expense isn't really necessarily the issue. The issue was, it just seemed like a lot of money for something I was just going to gut anyway.
Well, yes, what I mean. Like, I don't mean expensive, like, ooh, it's expensive. I mean it like for what you're getting and what you're going to do with it. It's a little kind of pricey to.
It is, and that's, I guess, where we kind of land here is we have the Glock math of 2 Glocks for 1 Prodigy, right? Effectively.
Three, but yeah.
Okay, MOS. Only big boys buy MOS. I'm not talking about iron sight.
Oh, you're going
iron sight guns don't exist.
Come on. We did
no. Unless it's my beautiful 625 or a J frame, it doesn't exist. I'm sorry.
Fine. 2.5. We'll call it 2.5.
Yeah, so we'll say about 2.5 Glocks for 1 Prodigy.
Glock MOSs.
Yeah, obviously. So And then we had last year, I believe the Mac Military Arms Corporation, not the YouTuber, who they basically they ordered from TSOS, which is a very popular Turkish made Turkish gun company.
Weren't they bringing in shotguns too? I remember that.
I'm fairly certain they're mostly just known for shotguns. I think people are pleasantly surprised when they have handguns.
Oh, so they were kind of doing okay.
Yeah. So I mean, they have their own very clearly not copied off anything else, wink wink kind of thing. But a lot of the Turkish. So when you get below the prodigies, you end up with the TSOS and the Mac. The Mac being a little bit higher up on that, just in terms of price point. It's like a Glock and a half, I suppose. So
okay, I mean,
and then below that, I mean, you end up with TSOS, and it's Glock money for some of these TSOSs. Now the problem with when we're recording this is SHOT Shows in like a week and a half or something. So
it is.
I already know for a fact what guns they're going to be releasing. So we're already going to be behind the 8 ball on this, which is kind of a bummer. But
we're always behind the 8 ball.
I love it. It's a good time. So that there's a lot of features that were popular or that were attractive about when when Mac released their version of it. Basically, it's a clone of the Staccato, which is basically, if you think of Glocks as the baseline, like it should be as good as a Glock, not worse. Yep. If it's better, that's awesome. The Staccatos are very similar. It's like in terms of 2011s, they're expensive to you and me, but to somebody who's serious about 2011s and they're serious about a higher end gun, that's a very entry level in that world. Let me preface that is an entry level in that world.
So Glock is the baseline for most striker fires, as Staccato is the baseline for most 2011s.
In terms of price.
And
ideally reliability. Now, that is up for debate. And I have no dog in that fight. I don't own a Staccato. I don't know. But I can tell.
Well, you own something very close to us.
Yeah, so Staccato. I have the Mac 9 DS is the gun that I got. Now, I all told, before Kevin makes me feel like a complete knob, I am in this project more than I thought.
just a hair over.
What did we say? It was like 3.
Well, I did it with iron sight Glocks. I don't know what MLS Glocks. So I would say 3.
So like 3. So we're like, I'm 3 Glocks into this. It's a chunk of change. And so the problem, my problem, and I think I've said this on this show before, but I buy guns, I buy the parts and then I buy the gun.
I sometimes wonder if he likes cigars with $100 bills and some of the gun projects he has.
Well, it's more I hyperfixate on something and I need that one thing. And then I don't necessarily relate that to another thing, because Kevin and I were going over the price of this last night when we were planning. And I'm going through Gunbroker and I'm like, wow, that's unfortunate.
His audible gasp was something to be heard.
And I think before we get any further into this, I think that's, I mean, I think everybody says this, but, maybe saving money's a better idea.
Just a tad.
Now, what I will say is that a baseline $1,700 gun, $1,700 gun, and
what was the point of that? Why? We try so hard.
The baseline of a gun that doesn't come with anything, that costs as much as it may or may not cost. I think that you get more enjoyment. I think you get more enjoyment out of the gun that you've put way more time, effort, and cursing into. I'm sticking with that.
I can agree. Now. I can agree when you're working on a gun project, because I've worked on a few projects. The AK I worked on, the USP I worked on. So when I get it, when you're working on a project, you're like, the price and the cost kind of eludes you until it's all said and done. And you're kind of like, ooh, maybe I should have spent all that money.
Yeah, I definitely double down. I know we've talked a couple times where I'm telling you I'm grabbing something or I found this part and it's like you're like, "Wait, what?"
All right, so tell us about this lovely 3 Glock $1,700
So
Mac 2011 T6
Mac 9DS. So
Mac
why
9DS.
why would you want a 2011? Why does
Because
anybody
they're-
want a 2011?
Because they're cool, man. Everybody
They're
talks
cool.
about
Somebody
it. Like,
somebody has said they are cool, so they're cool.
they're
right?
like, you can air rack them and you can do all kinds of cool stuff that the internet guys do.
It's true.
Yeah.
So I like 1911s. I have a couple. I'm a fan. I used to carry them a lot. I competed with them. I took classes with them. I like them very much. But I also like more bullets. I also carry a revolver most of the time. So, maybe not the most consistent person from time to time.
You're just over here making hypocritical statements left and right. It's fine.
So, like, I want to put... So, in this spawned off the back of us being kind of interested in talking about the offensive handgun project. Did I ever release that episode? I don't remember if I ever did.
So...
Either way, we had a concept for an offensive handgun project. We'd gotten the idea from Chuck Pressburg and Brass Facts, and I liked the idea of carrying a very large gun, and we have talked about this ad nauseum in different capacities, or in different...
Carry the biggest gun you can
Yeah.
and the most bullets you can. Yeah.
Right. Make it as easy as possible to be as effective as possible, right? Because, that's typically the gun you're going to have with you, which is probably a good thing to train with. So make it as easy. So I'm thinking, I have a good amount of time on 1911s. I've seen enough people be interested in 2011s, but I could buy a staccato or a much more expensive gun.
Mm-hmm.
But if I spent 4, 5 Glocks, I don't even know how much are
hold on. Let me
25 or 30 or 3100.
One moment. Computing. Boop 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 boop. 6 Glocks. What was it called? 6 Glocks.
Oh, and that's before I buy an SRO or whatever optic I'm gonna
that's just the gun.
And then there's no magazines because so if anybody knows me, I buy magazines at 10 at a time. So if I need a magazine for a handgun, a rifle,
he does enjoy base 10s.
So it's just easier for me to buy 10 because I'm thinking, I can practice with this many, I can use this many, and then I have these in reserve. It's easier for me to have 10 and just allot that mentally. That might be a little bit more OCD than it needs to be, but
just a tad.
It makes me feel better. It's consistency. I like consistency. My brain doesn't let me do that very often. It holds me hostage.
We've been talking about the other mags that you buy and just to have them.
Steady on. Hey, I actually only have one gun right now, or no, one magazine right now that I don't own the gun to.
And what magazine is that, Bryce?
VZ58.
Oh, so you're working on getting a VZ58? That's cool.
No, I'm not, but a friend really wants me to, and is terrible influence.
You will.
I will. I do want to
eventually.
VZ58. I do want to VZ58.
Sorry, producer lady.
So I do. I like the idea of all these things, and I had seen other other content creators kind of hit and miss. Turkish guns, a lot of guns at that price point, and keeping in mind again,
it's a quality control thing. I feel like
it's sheer numbers. If the problem is when I say at a price point and then I say it's 1,000 or I say it's however much, people all they hear is the price and they're like, that's not budget. And it's like, again, it's how you're framing it. You're right. That is not a budget gun.
It's all about context. Like, it's budget for the market that the gun is in.
And I'm not telling anybody they should do that. In fact, I'm pretty sure the title of this is going to be pretty clear. You shouldn't.
We're openly advocating to save your money and buy something better.
It's not worth it. So for me, it's worth it to me because I don't listen to anybody and I just want to know why I don't like it. So even I'm going to go into it knowing I don't like it.
So you're
like carrying and buying an M&P. I still don't like that gun, but I
Oh.
have to know why I don't like that gun.
That was my greatest success.
I know. I hate that so much.
Because I sold mine right after you bought yours.
I know. It was such crap. So I wanted to know, and I wanted it to work. It would be interesting if I could have a 2011 or a platform that could do the basic things that I wanted it to do in terms of it having a relatively decent trigger and me being able to stick big magazines with lots of ammo in them and it recoiling normally, like being more shootable than anything else. But in reality, I mean, it shoots fine. Like the gun, when it works, is fine.
How often does it work?
In the 1,000 rounds that I've shot it's had 3 stoppages, all with 115 grain, like crap ammo. Now, granted, we're circling right back to the beginning of this. I never shot the gun stock.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever seen these things when you first get them. They have a trigger that's about a quarter mile long. So I couldn't, there was nothing like even dry firing that gun. Like, I don't think it made it 10 minutes in my house before I had ripped everything out of it.
You did dry fire it at least once though, right?
Maybe?
Oh Lord. You didn't even try.
I don't know. I don't know if I did.
He never had a chance.
Well, so on
never had a chance.
On 2011s, the trigger, like the actual trigger and trigger bow don't control really the weight or characteristics other than take up and over travel on it in the gun. So the internal components are what you're really messing with, or the leaf spring. And I can tell you that gun had as close to a staple gun trigger as you can get with a single action only.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to rip, and the leaf spring wouldn't keep tension. So I started getting hammer follow because I tried to add a little bit more tension.
What is
hammer follow? Basically, when you press a trigger on a single action gun, the hammer goes down and detonates the round. It hits the firing pin, does all those things, and the slide goes back, resets the hammer, right? So it cocks the hammer.
Okay,
and it's supposed to stay back. Well,
yes.
When you get hammer follow, it follows the slide forward and doesn't reset.
Oh no! So
you have a live round. No, you have a live round in the chamber, but a dead trigger.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so I really like that. That's super fun. So it wouldn't take any kind of tune. So I actually had to rob Peter to pay Paul. I had to steal the leaf spring out of my Springfield
biblical
operator.
Honest.
So I took my operator, or I took the leaf spring out of my operator. That one actually took some tension, and now I'm not getting hammer follow.
Okay.
But I'm getting shotgun extraction. So it's just kind of going wherever. I tried to tension the extractor. I'm fairly certain it needs a new extractor. I think it's just a really bad quality extractor. I'm not saying they're all like this, but what I'm saying is there's going to be more like this than not. And then typically when you start paying more for a gun, it's going to, hopefully the metric goes the other way.
Right. So when you say shotgun ejection, it means it's just flying out and no real predictable.
So it's not universally true that erratic ejection leads to an unreliable gun. That's not a factor, but typically an unreliable gun has really erratic extraction.
Okay.
So it's like, it may not be a duck, but man, does it walk like one.
Okay.
Right?
Sometimes it quacks like one.
Yeah. So if it's quacking or not, it's really what matters. But it's, so
okay.
It is very erratic. You can kind of tell. I tried to ameliorate that by getting a specially designed plate that actually pulled my optic further back, because initially when I had gotten a stoppage where I caught the brass underneath the SRO, and if people aren't familiar, SROs are cantilevered, so they're kind of hanging over the ejection port a little bit on these guns. So I don't shoot iron sights, so I took the rear iron sight, or I took the plate off, and I don't use the iron sights. So I got a plate that moves the SRO all the way to the back of the slide and deletes the iron sight. So, but it still has the same stoppages. Flip side, ironically, 1911s are more known for, or 2011s, that platform is more known for feed stoppages, like smacking the feed ramp and not being able to feed ammunition like hollow points or anything like that.
Okay.
So it's kind of ironic that this one can feed empty cases. I stuck a 20-round magazine in and fed 20 rounds of empty cases through this gun.
Just fed them totally fine.
It feeds just fine, but it will not function, and it's so annoying because that is not usually. It's the other way around. Like normally they don't feed.
So the put in game is real strong, but the pull out game
it's
so much.
Real weak. It's bad. It's real bad.
Not good to have a bad pull out game.
No. I mean, we're getting all kinds of bullet babies all the time.
Mm-hmm. We sure are.
So I like. No, I don't like the gun.
You can't even pretend to like it.
I can't even. I've competed with it. I've shot it. I can't get behind it.
What about?
I can't I don't know why.
What about the thing that we forgot to talk about? What about the things that hold the bullets, the magazines? How are those? God. Are those easy to find
Okay, so they're not hard to find.
Okay.
You can buy Duramags, and then obviously there's two, or not obviously, but there's two patterns of double stack 1911s. There's only two companies that can call them 2011s, and there's one company that has it's a different pattern. So there's two different kinds of patterns. The one typically we're going to be really concerned with, especially in the US, is going to be the Staccato or 2011 platform. And the magazines that work with that are going to be the Duramags.
Duramags, gotcha.
Duramag is a easily found magazine for that platform.
Okay.
At a price point.
What's the price
Duramag
point?
is known to be at a price point. I think they're about $30 or $40. So in terms of magazines, that's Glock 17 price. That's Glock prices. That's M&P price. Well, actually, it's a little bit less than M&P, but either way,
it's like the
normal.
standard. It's the standard mag price, really.
Right. That is the standard. That's not weird. So that's the easy. That's like your Pro Mag level. That's like right above Pro Mag in terms of 2011 magazines.
And for context, Pro Mag is like the cheapest, crappiest mags you can find.
Now, Duramag is not cheap crap. That's That's not what I'm saying. We just don't have a legitimately crappy magazine for 2011s.
But again,
so unfortunately,
in this market,
they're just on the bottom.
In the market of 2011s, we're saying.
Yeah. So what's nice about those is they're easily found. They're a body. They come with a spring, a follower, a base plate, and a tube. They are magazine.
That sounds like what a magazine is. Yeah.
So the problem becomes sometimes they don't seem to play nice with all guns. A lot like 1911s, they're a little picky.
Okay.
But once you start working up, you end up with your Staccato magazines, which are going to be... most people are fairly certain they're OE by Checkmate, but we don't know for sure. So at that price point, you're going to end up with like $50-ish, maybe a little bit more. The Checkmate and the Staccato magazines, they're about what... those are going to be like your normal Toyota brand. And then once you start getting into your performance brands, you're going to start getting into like Atlas, and you're start getting into MBX, and you're going to start getting into Strayer Voigt or Infinity, which is going to be on really the high end. Those tubes are like $130 a piece, and then MBX mags are like 110, and that's just the tube. That's just the tube. That's not the complete magazine. So you still need the springs, the followers, the base pads. The base pads are usually a spendy item if you want more bullets. Now, if you want a factory magazine, and all you're concerned with is you're a cop and you want to put a 2011 on for some reason,
because it's cool.
You want to use probably the factory 20s and the factory 17s. You probably aren't concerned with changing mag guts. So those guys, buy the Chip McCormicks, buy the Checkmates, buy the Staccatos, and maybe train with the Duramags. That kind of is what the feel I'm getting from those. They have worked for me, though. I will say they have worked.
All right, so in this context, the Duramag is kind of the low end.
Yeah,
not quality wise, just kind of the low end.
Duramag, I would say, is like the Glock, the Glock or the Magpul Glock magazines. Some people swear by them, but some people only train with them, but pretty much everybody doesn't carry them because we're like, maybe.
Okay, and then Staccato is kind of like the normal OEM Glock.
Yeah, it's the Glock mag where you're like, well, that's going to work, right?
The bog standard, it works. Gotcha.
Now, you can find the Atlas. Atlas kind of bridges the gap because they have an entry-level one that's like $60 or $70.
Oh, and
then they have the more Gucci one. So they do a really good job of bridging the gap, actually, pretty well. The tube geometry is amazing. They're very consistent.
They hold your hand while they bleed your bank account.
Oh, yeah, because they're like, we know you like our guns, and you can't afford the $8,000 one, but here's a magazine.
You're like, wow, $60, and then a couple months later, I guess I can update $120. That's not as bad. Before you know it, you're homeless with nothing but a box full of mags.
And I'm bleeding from the nose from insanity. Just my brain is melted. Yep, this is fine.
Like, I am home. This is my home. So, pour the mags on top of yourself.
So the magazine issues were self-inflicted by me. Kevin, there were many a time Kevin heard me just absolutely autistically raging about just the dumbest crap, like, oh, what millimeter, and then can I get slide lock out of this, and then how many rounds with this spring? And
if I may, most people understand the term rabbit hole. Rabbit hole. When you go down this, like Alice in Wonderland, you go down the rabbit hole, and it's like da 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 da. I would listen to Bryce go down these magazine rabbit holes continuously,
endlessly, at nauseum,
indeed.
In perpetuity.
Wait, forever? You're gonna
forever. It's just gonna be endless magazine talk. You're just gonna be. Do you own that 2011 anymore? No. I'm just complaining.
Yeah. I'm just complaining about the bags I have to buy for again I don't own anymore.
Exactly. So, all right. Holy crap, that was a whole episode.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
we did pretty good.
That was the topic. I like the topic. So, now that we're at the end of this lovely topic, do you have more questions for me in terms of 2011s?
Let me check my questions list. Un momento.
I think we actually got all of them. By the way, I think you're the Ron Burgundy now. You're actually Ron Burgundying right now.
No, I'm really not. I wrote down paper notes.
Did you? Really? Wow. Paper note? My goodness.
Yeah, I do have pens. Let's not talk about my pen obsession.
Kevin also, if you don't know Kevin very well, is about his writing utensils. He's a... Wait, no, I'm not going to say that because Spotify might misunderstand what I'm saying.
You're about to say it too.
Whatever. Okay, so look up somebody that is really interested in collecting pens.
And loves pens.
Yes, and is very interested in pens, and you'll understand why I then cannot say that here.
Yes.
It's very funny, and I definitely think it's worth you looking up. All right, so are we good? No more? Can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. You've answered all the questions about your lovely, wonderful 2011.
Don't buy it. Don't do it. Just
unless you're so happy that you bought it.
What I will say is that I like a project, and if you just want a project, and you have other guns, and you just want something to do, and you want to see if it's something for you, maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll get one that just works. And then you're like, wow, I should get a better gun. And then you buy a better gun. And then you sell this one for a scope, which is ironically probably what I'm going to do.
Oh, whatever. You never sell guns.
No, but I am more considering trading it.
I think you owe not only me, but also the listeners, possibly the viewers, a video of you selling the 2011.
Oh, okay, all right. I won't sell it, but I'll probably trade it. I can see trading
it. Okay.
Yeah, maybe for like an FAL or something.
Yeah, you're just gonna kick the can down the road and say that's you that tries to thinks 2011s at that price point are workable.
That's I think the whole secondhand 2011 market. That's what it is. Is everybody going? Oh, this is so cool. Oh, wow, clocks are just better.
Yeah, so they get into it. They're like, wow, this is great. I'm gonna tanker with this. And they realize it's like a boat. It's a boat.
So It's exactly like the boat. It is so exactly like the boat. Ugh. All right. So, part source. Oh, see, I did it. I did the thing.
What's the thing?
I did the thing. I started reading the notes.
Oh God. I knew I should have deleted that note.
You should have just deleted the whole thing.
God, I knew I debated whether or not I should have deleted it or not.
Okay, so the next thing, so we're gonna kind of go back to our original format. You're gonna have to work with us. We're trying to figure out a more consistent way of doing these. So the next thing we're gonna kind of go back to is doing things that we've been reading, information, news, and the little snippets at the end of the episode.
No news is good news.
No news is good. Did I have I think I had a transition, right?
I
have a transition.
No. That's a separate thing that we're doing.
Transition 2.
No.
Yay! There we go. I did the transition. Now we're in the talking section. Here's another one. It says transition 5. Wow. Now we're in the talking part of
this
news.
Is fun. Where am I? Who am I? Who are you?
So what do we have up on the docket, Kevy Poo?
I put an airsoft light on my pump shotgun because
why would you
not?
Do that? Why?
Why? They were cheap. It was $40 for that versus $300 for a real light.
But you own the real light, don't you?
I do own the real light, but I'm too lazy to take it off my rifle.
Right. So would you say that it was is it comparable in any way?
For what I plan on using it for, which is to illuminate or have PID, positive identification of something in the night before I decide to go boom with a shotgun.
Before you go blammy?
Yeah, before you instantly go deaf and don't know what's going on. I
vaporize another human.
Or animal, or alien,
animal, yeah,
or robot.
Those pesky breaking and entering rabbits. Thumper's really getting out of control.
Robots. Don't forget we have the AI robots.
Oh God. Yeah. So Kevin, was that. So that's the link that I sent you from the one that I got.
I don't know if it's the same. I think we just ironically came to, or funny enough, coincidentally came to the same light on our own. The link you sent me, I was looking at, I was like, $60. I don't have $60. Well, let me find one a little cheaper. And
that was the Pro, right? The one with the swivel mount?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because did yours just come with like the fake M-Lock mount and then it was like a 1913 already installed?
Then I had to uninstall? Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, I think we got the same one based on the pictures. So I was telling Kevin I liked it because the body's compatible with my Airsocket heads and my actual Surefire switches. So I thought that was kind of cool, but I'm sure we'll probably do a video on it at some point, but for $30 you get a complete light and a functional body. So if not for anything else, you get a cheap body.
And from the Instagram pictures, I mean, if you don't look at it too hard, it looks kind of like the real thing. Maybe.
So I think I have mine like split up. I don't think I'm actually. Oh, you know what? I'm using the body on my LMT, and then I think my BB gun has the head.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hodgepodge.
I love it.
Interesting. Well, yeah. So definitely look for a video on that at some point. I want to say one of our friends might be doing some content about that at some point as well. If they do, then we will point you to them. Kevin, have we been doing anything extracurricularly?
Extracurricularly.
Have we been on other media outlets?
I mean, we were on the TFB podcast.
We were on the TFB podcast.
Luke.
Yes, with Luke. We like Luke. Luke is good people. So we were on his
Hi, Luke.
Hello, Luke. TFB Behind the Gun, and we were talking about Kevin's battle rifle and shotgun video or concept. And the tomfoolery that ensued was just
quite hilarious.
On brand. I would say on brand. So definitely go check that out. He did a little blurb for us, and then I'd been on just previously. It didn't work out that Kevin could make it on, but I think from now on we will definitely try to do that because I'm not me having to work. Yes, I'm not to be trusted by myself either. I need the supervision.
Yeah, I get paid handsomely to supervise Bryce.
Yeah, the producer that's her job. She pays Kevin.
Yeah, there's an entire slush fund that says Bryce Handler, and it's just pay stubs all to me from the producer. Thank you, producer.
Going back like almost 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Is that it? Did we do anything else? Is there news? Is there stuff we want to talk about? Is there? Am I thinking? Am I forgetting anything?
Well,
I mean, we can talk about the 22 Mark 12, but honestly, I don't. So I had a plan for a 22 that looked like a Mark 12, and I was going to put airsoft parts on it.
This is going to be a whole other episode.
It's not whole nother. It's whole other. Nother is not a word.
Nother?
I hate that.
Nether brothers?
Well, either way, I wanted to talk about that, but I'm not prepared enough yet. So I'll look for that on another video or another episode of this thing that we call the Carry Handle Podcast.
This amalgamation of insanity.
Well, so Kevin and I are very happy to be back doing our original style episodes. We're still going to be doing guests in this new year. We're going to be doing it more consistently. Ideally, more episodes than just 1 or 2 a month. We'll see how that goes. And just consistency. That's going to be the name of the game for the Carry Handle Podcast in 2025. So we're excited to have you along. Consistency. Yeah. So, Kevin, any news or exciting stuff to talk about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. Well, I would like to say thank you to everybody for being along for the ride with us for as long as you guys have been.
The roller coaster.
Yep.
It has fun.
So keep listening. There's exciting stuff coming. We're going to be trying new things. Definitely check out the Instagram. I've been doing some shorts, and Kevin's been uploading to the Carry Handle Gaming, and I've been uploading shorts to the YouTube channel.
I don't think I'm uploading. I'll work on putting more videos on the Carry Handle Gaming.
We want to show you. We appreciate you guys listening, and we're excited to do it. So that's what's coming in 2025. And then the end of the month, definitely check out. We're going to be doing some SHOT Show stuff. We're not going to be at SHOT Show, but we'll be talking about it. So look forward to that. More SHOT Show coverage you didn't ask for. And maybe we'll drag Luke on and force him to talk about everything again.
Yay!
So, all right. Well, Kevin, anything else?
No, you've wrapped it up nicely.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. You should like and subscribe.
On Facebook and Instagram.
And Twitter and Spotify. You should listen there too. If you
aren't they listening to this on Spotify right now?
Well, they could be, but there's also YouTube podcasts, so, all of the places.
We always forget where we post this stuff.
We don't know where this is. Thank you for listening wherever you're listening to, but you should also like the other places that we are. And
Who are we, and what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know how we got here. So thank you for letting us talk directly into your ear holes.
Right to the brain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Adios.